The basketball world is witnessing what might go down as the most puzzling endorsement deal in recent memory. Reebok, under the direction of Shaquille O'Neal, decided to make Angel Reese the face of its basketball revival, and so far, it's been a disaster worthy of a corporate case study. While Caitlin Clark breaks records and Sophie Cunningham wins over fans without even trying, Angel Reese is creating viral content for all the wrong reasons. And with her signature Reebok shoe slated for a 2026 release, industry insiders are starting to murmur that this might be the biggest brand blunder since New Coca-Cola. Whenever Angel Reese steps onto the court, statisticians around the league collectively brace for impact. And not the kind that excites fans, the kind that makes data analysts cry into their spreadsheets. In just her second year, Reese has somehow achieved the improbable, shooting a brutal 31.5% on layups. Yes, layups, while attempting the third most in the entire WNBA. It's almost impressive how consistently inefficient she is at the most basic shot in the sport. We're talking about a 6'3" professional athlete who is missing bunnies at a rate that would get a high school freshman benched. At this point, it's less basketball and more experimental theater. The Chicago Bravado once again got their ass kicked. Angel Reese was so bad last night. The announcers calling the game, they were laughing at her performance. Check out some highlights for yourself. Well, Casey, you always do this. You select a couple of bad plays and try to convince us that Angel Reese isn't a superstar. The comedy writes itself. Against the New York Liberty, Reese delivered a sequence that will live in blooper reel infamy. 4 straight missed putbacks in just 12 seconds, with 2 of them getting swatted like she was practicing against a brick wall. The clip went viral instantly, but not in the inspirational highlight reel kind of way. No, this was the kind of viral fame that comes with clown music edits and YouTube compilations titled "When Basketball Isn't Your Calling." Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is drawing comparisons to generational NBA talent and selling out arenas without needing to miss 4 layups in a row to do it. And sure, someone will argue that her field goal percentage sits at 44.4%, which seems respectable, until you realize most of those shots come from 3 feet or less. In the paint, where efficiency is king, Reese is putting up numbers that make scouts double-check their glasses. Most pros convert layups at 70 to 80%. It's basically a gimme. But Reese has managed to turn layups into a Vegas slot machine. Pull the lever and hope for the best. She's turned what should be high-percentage looks into a nightly gamble, and no one, not fans, coaches, nor Reebok execs, are betting big anymore. And then there are the commentators. Those brave souls tasked with selling every play like it's thrilling and historic. These folks are trained to make free throws sound like buzzer beaters, but even they can't keep a straight face anymore. During a recent game, after yet another point-blank Reese miss, one announcer audibly chuckled. Not the supportive, "she'll get 'em next time" kind of laugh. No, this was a full-on, "what did I just watch?" moment of disbelief. When the play-by-play guys start laughing instead of talking, your brand's in trouble. That's not just a red flag. That's a 50-foot inflatable tube man waving outside corporate headquarters, screaming, "We messed up." With her dominant performances in June, she earned her All-Star selection. But these aren't just a couple of bad plays. These aren't bloopers. These aren't rare moments. This is the norm. The same thing happened last week when the Chicago Bravado got their ass kicked by the Minnesota Lakers. I don't have to convince you that Angel Reese has no impact on winning. Just look at her record, look at her resume in the WNBA. Social media, of course, is eating this up. Fans are creating entire video montages of her most inexplicable misses, complete with slow motion, zoom-ins, and circus music. It's become a genre, and for a company like Reebok hoping to reignite its basketball line, this is the last kind of visibility they need. Instead of game-winning buzzer beaters or breakout highlights, their marquee athlete is going viral for all the wrong reasons. This isn't the type of content that moves shoes. It's the kind that moves marketing executives into new careers. Now, if Reese was lighting it up on a winning team, maybe, just maybe, people would overlook the chaos. But her Chicago Sky are a wreck, sitting on a pathetic 7-21 record. The product on the court is so uninspiring it's making practice squads look competitive. They've lost 8 straight, and when Reese sat out 5 games with a back injury, they went winless without her. So now we're left with a paradox. They're bad with her, and somehow worse without her. It's like having a leaky lifeboat. You know it's sinking, but at least it's keeping you from drowning instantly. I'm no expert in math, but it looks like Angel Reese wins 1 out of every 3 games. If I remember correctly, Angel Reese has beaten a team with a winning record once this season. So you tell me how Angel Reese impacts when. Coach Tyler Marsh has tried spinning the narrative, but even his most optimistic soundbites can't patch this sinking ship. When your offense revolves around a player whose most viral moments involve missing wide-open shots under the basket, you've got bigger problems than a weak bench. Let's not forget, Reebok didn't just sign Angel Reese. They built their entire relaunch strategy around her. Shaq himself co-signed the move. The plan? Launch her signature shoe in 2026 and ride the wave of Gen Z hype. But there's a problem with that strategy. It requires actual on-court success. This isn't Instagram, this is the WNBA. And in the real world of sports, missing layups and catching strays from commentators doesn't sell sneakers. To make matters worse, Reebok CEO Todd Krinsky compared Reese to legends like Allen Iverson and Shaq, claiming she could be a culture-changing force. It would be funny if it weren't so sad. Shaq and Iverson didn't just change culture, they changed the game. They earned every bit of their influence by dominating on the court. Reese, she's turning in stat lines that belong in a blooper reel, not a Hall of Fame exhibit. If she's changing culture, it's only because she's redefining what not to do in professional sports. And now, the whispers are turning into murmurs, and the murmurs into full-blown regret. Did Reebok actually evaluate the product before slapping their logo on it? Or were they just so desperate for relevance that they grabbed the loudest name without checking if the game backed it up? It's starting to look like a desperate Hail Mary from a brand that wanted headlines more than substance. And what they got instead was a multi-year, multi-million-dollar catastrophe. She had a good game, 22 points, 13 rebounds, but she shot terribly. She got bailed out so many times, throwing up, brick layups, getting phantom foul calls from the refs. She did make 10 of 11 free throws, so that is good. 6 of 16 from the floor is not good at all. 0 of 1 from 3, she was a minus 11. Listen, man, Kiki Ariafane got the better of her. If the timing of Angel Reese's back injury could not have been more convenient for just about everyone but Reebok. Let's be honest, while injuries are never something to root for, in this particular case, Reese's absence felt less like a tragedy and more like an unplanned vacation from weekly basketball chaos. This wasn't just a break for her body. It was a much-needed breather for basketball fans, commentators, and meme makers alike. Just when social media had reached its breaking point from the onslaught of viral blooper reels featuring her missed layups, she vanished from the court. Poof, like a magician pulling off her first decent trick. It gave Reebok a moment to pause and ask themselves, wait, how do we sell sneakers tied to a player whose defining move is bricking open layups? And let's not forget, her injury kept her out of a highly anticipated matchup against the Indiana Fever, a showdown that fans were either dreading or dying to see. Not because it was going to be a competitive battle. No, that would require both players to be on the same planet basketball-wise. It was supposed to be Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, a college rivalry that existed only in Reese's Twitter feed. One player is revolutionizing the league and shattering records. The other is struggling to complete a basic layup drill. So yeah, Reese sitting out spared the public from what could have been the most one-sided beatdown since Goliath got a second shot, blindfolded. But let's zoom out a bit and look at this through a business lens. Because this isn't just a sports story, it's a case study in brand misalignment. Reebok didn't just sign a player. They took a full-court gamble on someone whose biggest contribution to basketball lately has been volume content for blooper reels. Endorsement deals are built on one core idea. People want to buy greatness. You don't put on a pair of LeBrons to shoot air balls. You don't lace up Jordans hoping to miss. Endorsements are aspirational. And Angel Reese's game inspires, well, maybe prayer, but certainly not purchases. Reebok tried to shift the narrative, leaning into her bold personality and unapologetic attitude. Okay, fine, those things might sell makeup or maybe a reality show. But basketball shoes, the kind you wear to try and improve your actual game. You can't slap a slogan on the box that says, guaranteed to clank your layups like Angel Reese. That's not marketing. Now, if she were surrounded by a team that helped mask her weaknesses, maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't be such a train wreck. But the Chicago Sky aren't just bad. They're tailor-made to spotlight her worst habits. When the floor spacing is non-existent and your playmaker is a rebound chaser who treats offense like an afterthought, well, you get the Sky. A team that has somehow mastered the art of scoring less, missing more, and still putting up highlight reels, for all the wrong reasons. Let's also talk about Coach Tyler Marsh, who must feel like he's trying to paint a masterpiece using crayons and wet paper towels. Imagine walking into your first year as a head coach and being told, "This is your star. She can't finish at the rim, takes weird shots, and turns every possession into a TikTok disaster." That's not coaching. That's damage control. And ironically, when Reese was out with her injury, the team's offense actually showed flashes of functioning like a real basketball unit. Yes, they still lost, but at least it wasn't because their star player was actively undermining every possession. Meanwhile, Reese's presence has turned the internet into a never-ending loop of low-light reels. Every time she hits the court, it's another opportunity for some high school editor to add circus music to her botched putbacks and compile them into a top 10 missed layups video. That content gets millions of views because people can't look away. It's a modern-day basketball tragedy disguised as comedy. And Reebok is somehow still pretending this is the face of their brand. But here's the real problem. When your only value is viral content based on failure, the clock starts ticking. Fast. Social media loves to eat its stars alive. And the moment someone funnier, flashier, or more embarrassing comes along, Reese becomes old news. When the buzz dies, what's left? A shoe deal with a player who never lived up to the hype and now can't even coast on irony. That's not influence. That's marketing quicksand. Reebok's 2026 launch of Reese's signature shoe is shaping up to be less of a celebration and more of a crisis meeting with balloons. They've already rolled out teaser images and splashy campaigns, but no amount of slick editing can hide the fact that the athlete behind the shoe can't consistently finish layups. That's like launching a Formula One car sponsored by someone who can't drive stick. Industry whispers are already circulating. Some insiders suggest that Reebok is considering pivoting the shoe from performance gear to a lifestyle sneaker. Translation: let's pretend this was never about basketball. Others speculate that the company might push the release back, hoping Reese finds her game in the meantime. Good luck with that. This isn't a minor slump. This is a pattern. And it's not just a branding problem. It's a confidence problem. It's a credibility problem. And Reebok is about to learn what happens when you try to build an empire on sand. The nuclear option: pull the plug, quietly phase out the campaign, scrap the shoe, and hope no one notices. But here's the catch. The internet doesn't forget. Every viral video, every highlight of Reese being blocked at the rim by players a foot shorter than her, it's all immortalized. And every time someone Googles Angel Reese signature shoe, they'll be met with a reel of layup disasters and "what were they thinking?" headlines. Let's not sugarcoat it. This partnership has become a warning label for other brands. A cautionary tale on how to confuse social media attention for marketable talent. Sure, she trends, but so do traffic accidents. And that doesn't mean you name a highway after them. At the end of the day, Reebok's experiment with Angel Reese is turning into a comedy of errors. Except no one's really laughing. Not the fans, not the investors, and certainly not the poor intern tasked with monitoring all the hate comments. The lesson here is simple. If you're going to bet big, at least make sure your star knows how to finish a layup. Because otherwise, you're not selling basketball dreams. You're selling punchlines. And no sneaker, no matter how well designed, can outrun a reputation built on bricks.